Let's talk about some teachers from the heart. Well, I suppose we couldn't start this list without mentioning the main guy, Jesus Christ, aka Yeshua ben Joseph. And Yeshua is like the master teacher of the heart, right? You often see him with these like little poses where he's like this, and he's got like this little burning heart thing around his heart in popular art, as if to say, hey, right here, this important, yo. This important. So he implores us to look within our hearts to find the answers and the keys to the kingdom of heaven, which is, in my mind, a concept that we can live in all the time. The kingdom of heaven is a space of consciousness. It's not going up in the clouds with a bunch of cherubim. It's here and it's now when you see with the eyes of the heart. That's the kingdom of heaven. So if you're seeking it somewhere else, it's right here. And Jesus is amazing because he shows us how everything we think about the heart and how life works is kind of the opposite. Like he tells us to love our enemies. And by loving our enemies, we transform them and ourselves versus getting pulled into the hate. I've had this experience myself. I got into a bad car accident that I was responsible for in my early 20s. And the other guy was so mad at me. He like wanted to just beat the crap out of me, right? And I wanted to like resist and hate him and like, it wasn't my fault really. It was all the traffic was crashing together. I had all these voices in my head of hatred, but I remembered Jesus' teachings and he's like, love your enemies. So I'm like, okay, I gotta love this guy. So I'm just like apologizing and I'm like getting him special medicines that my mom has because she's like a naturopath. And I started like bringing him medicine to help heal his neck. And instead of him like suing me like crazy and all this other stuff, he like got better within like a week. And I like prayed for him every night. Like I prayed my ass off. Like I prayed so hard for this dude. I've never, you know what I mean? I'm like, don't usually pray that hard, but when it matters, you do it. So I loved my enemy and it changed me. It changed him. We were both more grateful for being alive because of the wisdom of the heart that won through. And this is what Jesus is talking about. And so realizing also that he teaches us that we're all connected. Love your neighbor as yourself, right? So your neighbor's not different than you. Your neighbor's not separate. We're all part of the same puzzle piece. So if you love your neighbor, it's an act of loving yourself. And this is kind of how we have to rewire our ego to think as we mature spiritually into our full potential. So Jesus is the first main man. Second one, Mother Teresa, she just gives of herself. She was a poor woman in Calcutta who like no one knew who this like beggar woman is, but she like loves everyone and helps everyone. And she started to get followers and devotees and she like devotes herself. And pretty soon, she changes the world through little actions. So she teaches us that it doesn't have to be like, you don't have to go out there and try and change the whole world right now. Just do one thing for one person and one thing for another person. And that love will spread, will multiply and expand. And pretty soon, this world is going to be a wonderful place. And I believe it already is. You can choose to join me in that belief or not.